Kadosh, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining our call every Tuesday and Thursday. We have it Baruch Hashem at the Bet Knesset Paras. Please, everybody, join us. We also have after Netz Minyan. We're doing Masechet Sotah. We started Masechet Sotah. Please join us. 20 minutes. We're doing after the Netz Minyan. Baruch Hashem. Hashem give us the blessing that we started. And Baruch Hashem, it's going good. Please, everybody, join us. Please call me at 917-335-4763. We do it Netz Minyan, which is going to be at 5 a.m. We started 4:30 Shacharit, 5:24, for example, was a Netz today. So please, everybody, join. Bring friends, close ones. Like this, we're able to spread the Torah and to Kayam et Olam, and the world will be sustained. Thank you. We're going to say Barachat Tzlacha, the Yaakov ben Asher. May Hashem bless him with all the blessings of the Torah. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach to him and his kids. Rufuah Shlema, Baracha, Briyut, which is health. It's important. Happiness, enjoy Be'ezrat Hashem. V'gam Tivarech. We're going to say quietly. Amen. So we continue with our Pirkie Avot, the Mishnah. With the Mishnah, we continue with the Pirkie Avot. Please, I recommend it, so that we're able to continue what we said before. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa omer kol sheirato sheirat chet kodemet lechokmato chokmato mitkayemet. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa says that if somebody has a fear of Hashem, the sin is pursued before his knowledge. He will be, whatever he is learning, he will able to continue to learn, and he able to spread. What if he knows a lot, and he knows a lot of Torah, but he has a problem by sinning? And his chokhmah, his knowledge, will not going to be fulfilled. His deeds is much greater than his knowledge. His knowledge will be upon him. He says every time that his knowledge is greater than his deed, and his chokhmah will not going to be fulfilled. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa ita batanit b'chol yom v'yom yotza bat kol v'omeret kol ha'olam nizum b'shvil Chanina bini. In the Gemara in Masechet Tanit, in page 24, says, every day the heavenly voice comes out, and it says the whole world nizum, which just means have a parnasa, because of Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa. Bini, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls him my son. V'chanina bini dai bakarav charuvin me'erev Shabbat le'erev Shabbat shekol ha'Shabbat chaser lahem lechem v'nizun min ha'charuvin. Rashi says every day he used to eat charuvin, those special, it grows, the black ones with the seed, carrots, carob, right? That's a carob tree that grows every 70 years, and those carob, which is actually, we have it also in New York. I saw it in Forest Hills, but a stadium. We have it over here also. Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, that was his nourishment the whole week. Okay? Shekol Shabbat chaser lechem v'nizun min ha'charuvin. He says not only that, every Erev Shabbat and on Shabbat he has to have carob tree from the fruit that is ate. That's what the Rashi says. Kol Erev Shabbat הייתה אשתו רבי חנינא בן זוז רגילה להשיג תנור. Every Erev Shabbat, she used to warm up the tanur, which is the oven. והטיל בו דבר מעל עשן כקטורת ככבשן. So she used to put the wood, and he used to just have like a ketoret, have just the ashan, which means the smoke. להתיר דבר מעל העשן כקטורת כאבשן. משום בושה, because she was embarrassed. שכל השכונותיה עופות עיסה לכבוד שבת. Her neighbors used to bake challah every Shabbat, לכבוד שבת קודש, every ערב שבת, לכבוד שבת קודש. ולא היה בידו כלום. She did not have nothing. הייתה, that's a good question you're asking me, I'm going to get to it. שהייתה השכינה רעה שאמרה, she had a bad neighbor and she told her, הרי ידיעת אני שאין להם לא כלום. אני יודע, she says, I know you don't have anything. אך ואראה מהי מעלה שאין כל כך. He says, why you have such a big smoke in your house? I know you don't have nothing. והלכה לטפחה על דלת וחצר שלה. The neighbor started knocking on the door. היא התביישה הרבנית, נכנסה לחדר. She became embarrassed, she went inside the room. רבי חנינא בן דוסה wife. נעשה לנס, נמצא שכינה את התנור מלא כיכרות. Hashem made a miracle, the full of oven, which is the tanur, okay? It became full of bread. והריבה שהציל התנור מלא עיסה. ואמר לה פלונית יביאה מירידה. She says, bring me right away the bread that you're supposed to be taken out, those vessels, I'm going to take it out. אמרה, אף אני נכנסתי לכך, שנו אף לאביה מורדעת נכנסה, מפני הייתה מלומדת בניסים, וידע שלא ייתן השם, ויש אצל שכנותיה. They knew, she was known as make miracles. So Hashem made a miracle for her. That means the Shiki was performing miracles. So Chazal says that you ask a beautiful question, why is nobody giving him bread? The whole world is having parnasa from him and nobody is giving bread. The Chazal says that a lot of times we say, oh, Talmid Chacham should eat bread, water, and sleep on the floor, like the Pirkie Avot says. Look what kind of house, deteriorated house that he lives. Very good law. He's a tzaddik. But if he has a mention, no, he's not a tzaddik, cannot be a tzaddik. So this is called tzar ayn, bad eye, and this is called Rashayim, which just means wicked. The shooter supported him, but they did not support him. Nobody supporting him. World? Yeah. No, the whole world did not know, but the people that surround him, the shooter gave him, and did not give it to him. That's called. So that goes to say how people could look at other people just because he does not have it. That means he does not need to have it. Okay? So it's Amra lo ishto l'Rabbi Chanina ad hamatay ani mitztareh lo holchim al kol kach. She said following, since when we're going to be in such a cruel way and we're going to be in such a poor way? Ma naseh bikesh rachamim. He says, ask for rachamim. What kind of rachamim? That Hashem should be merciful, give us to us. אחד דבר מן הטובה, נגזר לצדיקים לעתיד לבוא, להתפלל ויצא כמין פסיעת יד. So it comes from the table, it comes one of the so-called hand. And that hand came and it was a gold. And she says, no, I see the tzaddikim has the gold. With the 4 legs, you have 3 legs. So that's what the Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa wife said. So Chazal says that whenever a person have a enjoyment and pleasure in this world, like Rabbi Chanina and his wife, they knew what's the value, essence of the Olam Haba. Olam Haba, which just means the share in the world to come.
So they both passed away very poor?
Yeah.
That's great.
היה אומר, משנה, we're going to continue, כל רוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, רוח המקום נוחה ימינו.
None of the Chachamim could have helped him, his friends?
What can I tell you? הוא היה אומר, כל הרוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, ימינו, רוח המקום נוחה ימינו. So he says, Chazal say, if people have a pleasure from you, if you're nice to people, that means Hashem is talking to you, that means also Hashem is good to you. וכל שאין רוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, אין רוח המקום נוחה ימינו. He says, if a people disrespecting you, that means he also does not love by the heavens. רבי דוסה בן הרכינס אומר, שנה של השחרית, he says, שינה של השחרית, sleeping in the morning times, ויין של צהריים, drinking in the afternoon, ושיחת ילדים, He's all the time busy with the kids. Shalom Bayit, right? We're going to get to it. Yoshev bet knesiot shel am haaretzot. He's sitting in the bet knesset of the non-learners. Motzin et ha'adam min ha'olam. He will lose the share in the world to come. How's it possible? כל הרוח הבריות נוחי ימינו, רוח המקום נוחי ימינו. רבנו עובדיה, פירוש רבנו עובדיה. כל מי שאוהב למטה אצל הבריות, וידוע אוהב למעלה. רבנו עובדיה, מברטנורה, he's explaining in a Mishnah, in a Pirkie Avot. He says following, if somebody was loved by this world, people love him, that means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu also loved him upstairs. Al Shem nimtza chen v'sechel tov b'nei Elohim v'adam. Like it says, he's going to find chen, which just means favor in the humans and in Hashem. Ze al pi ma'amru b'yoma. It says, that's what it says, Masechet Yoma, in page 86. V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. And love Hashem. Shaya Hashem shamayim she'itovev al yadecha. He says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would give you a that love. She'ya koreh v'shoneh mishamesh talmidei chamim. Which means he loves. They love him and love him. The humans love him and they're loved by Shamayim, by heavens. We know in Masechet Sota, Membed, Shlosha, which says Arba, Kat Chanifim, En Mikabel Pnei Shechina. You have a lot of people that love them. It doesn't mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they do all the Lo Ta'aseh B'Torah, they do all the wrong things and people still love him. So this is called Kat Chanifim, which just means they suck up people. So they're only doing it for the benefit of just to have subdue to him, not for the love. Who Hashem loves, he learns, he continue learning. Mishamesh Talmidei Chamim, he gets surrounding himself Talmidei Chamim. Rabbi Meir says, En ani gole ele lemakom Torah. Rabbi Meir says, I'm not going to exile, only exile for the sake of the Torah. He does proper business with the humans. Many times we heard from all of you also, how come he's with the kippah, he does this, he does that, he's not proper, right? We have all the ta'anot, we have all the complaints on a person. מה הבריות אומרות עליו? אשרי אביו שלמדו תורה, ואשרי רמדו שלמדו תורה. When we're going to praise a person, we say, oh, praiseworthy his father that taught him Torah. Praiseworthy his teacher that taught him Torah. פלוני שלמד תורה רואה כמה נעים דרכיו. He says, look, he learned Torah, this is considered the real Torah. כמה מתוקנים מעשיו, how much his deeds are so prefixed. ועליו כתוב, ויאמר לי עבדי, אתה ישראל. Hashem says, you my slave, Jewish nation, אשר בך יתפאר. I'm being proud of you. You my авторитет. How you say in English? You're my pride. My pride. עיין במסכת סוכה, it says following מסכת סוכה in page 49. אמר רבי חנינא, כל האדם שיש עליו חן, בפני בריות בידוע שיראת שמיים. Says, you know, if people love him and he has a chen, which just means he has a grace, and he has grace in front of Hashem. Shenemar, like it says in the Tehillim 103:17. V'chesed Hashem me'olam v'ad olam al yire'av. And chesed, which just means the kindness of Hashem from forever and forever for his fearness of Hashem, which is the people. Kol habriyot, kol haruach habriyot nochai yemino, ruach Hamakom nochai yeminu. So it says the people love him. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu and heavens also love him. Tosafot Barachot. Okay. She'alani Rabbi Shalom Yitzchak Mizrahi. Dema talui ze bazeh. What is it depends? Why is it depends? If you good with people, the heavens love you. Why is it depends? Ba'agdim Hashemru Shabbat. Masechet Shabbat says in page 31. My desnei alecha lechaverecha lo ta'avid. Hillel HaZaken says to the ger, he says, whatever has been hate do to you, don't do to others. Which is whatever you don't want to be done to you, don't do to others. Well, kol haTorah kulo, and this is the whole Torah. V'amru Chazal, our sages say following, Perek Aleph Mishnah Bet, al shlosha dvarim Olam omed. He says 3 things the world stands. So that means when you're learning, when you're shtagin, that means the world is standing on you. Ala Torah, val avodah, val gemilut chasadim. And a Torah, and a kindness, and a avodah, which is en avodah ela shebalev tefillah, a prayer. So service for Hashem through the prayer. Okay? So it says over here that when you're learning, you're not just learning mumbling words. You're learning actually, you're sustaining the world. That's what you have to know. If you don't learn like this, that you're not sustaining the world, you're thinking you're just doing real little job in this world. You don't have idea that your 8.5 billion people is standing because of you. Because you're learning Torah. If you think like this, you will be clinging to the Torah, you're never going to leave it. And you would not have any excuses. Because the world is standing on you. That's the Mishnah says. But I'm not a tzaddik like the Mishnah says. The Mishnah did not say you're supposed to be a tzaddik learning Torah. The Mishnah says, Al shlosha dvarim omed ha'olam. And 3 things the world is sustained. Ala Torah, val avodah, gemilut chasadim. Same thing when you pray. The world stands on a prayer. Nimtza ruach habriyot naha yeminu. Al yedei she'oseh gemilut chasadim. Why does people love him? Because he does kindness. Mashu sanui lo lechaviro ena oseh. Says whatever you don't want to be done to you, you don't do to others. You want to get paid on time? You make sure you're going to do to others. You're going to pay them on time. You want to be treated well? They're going to treat you well. Not all the cases the same, but most of the time, the Hashem is going to guide us. ואז בזה גם רוח המקום נוחה ימינו, שהוא מקיים בזה גם כל התורה. If he does kindness with his friend, he does the whole Torah, 630 mitzvot. אבל מי שאינו רוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, what if a people do not like him? Okay, שאינו עושה גמילות חסדים, because he does not do kindness. ואינו מקרב הבריות, he does not get connected with people. כמו שהוא אוהב לעצמו, שיקרבהו. He only loves himself. The first thing that he does, he loves himself. וזה גם רוח המקום, אין לך ימינו. So same thing Hashem says, I'm not satisfied with you too. אף על פי שהוא בעל התורה. Even though he has a Torah, he's a Torah. Okay? אדרבה זה גורם חילול השם. Chazal says, because he has bad characters and traits, he calls חילול השם. Desecrating God's name publicly. כמו שאמרו ביומא פי וו. Like it says מסכת יומא, in a pei vav. 86. כל הרוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, אמרו בכתובות. Chazal says in a Masechet Ketuvot, and that's a dangerous Masechet Ketuvot. When I quote it, people just ask me all the time, where is this says in Masechet Ketuvot? This famous Masechet Ketuvot in page 105b. היי דצורבא דרבנן, דרחמהו לבני מאתה, לא משום מה לדתפה, אלא משום דלא מוכיח לה דמילי דשמיא. He says, if you see Tzurba de Rabbanan, you see Talmid Chacham. He's not rebuking people. He says, why people love him? Because he does not rebuke him. That's why people love him. You find somebody beautiful, especially in America. You find somebody hardcore, which is like Avigdor Miller. You're gonna say something. They're gonna say, no, he's too strict. We like somebody lenient, right? So that's what people look in, because we're so soft, we need something soft. We need to change the approach to people. That's the way the life is. מוכיח דמילי דשמיא, דלמדנו מכאן דמה שאומרו רוח הבריות נוחה ימינו, הם בריות הטובות שאומרי תורה ומצוות. What is it the Mishnah Pirkie Avot says? That the people, he needs to find favor in a people's eye, in a good people. Chazal says only good people, whoever learn Torah, do mitzvot, and have a good midot. We're not talking about those people that just because people are following them and whatever they're doing, that's not called people. That's called people, but that's not called what the Mishnah in the Pirkei Avot says. Okay? בריאות, שאומרות תורה, לכן רבי יצחק בר שלמה מתולידו, פירוש לאבות, שמכל מקום אין לו אדם לחניף לרשעים. He says, you have to be careful, do not suck up to the wicked people. ואמר כל הרוח בריאות נוחה ימינו, זה אינו. He says, that's not what we're talking about, where you're sitting and you're praising the Rashayim, praising the wicked people. you give him the passport and you give him license to do whatever they do. Or he says, oh, my rabbi says it's not like this. I could go to Bahamas, I could wear a wig and a long skirt, but I could go in a boat in a dress of the beach dress. My rabbi said it's okay. I don't want to say it. I don't want to have imagination. V'zeino she'aruma robo soita kat chanifim eno zochek lekabel pnei shchina. Says people that is, how you say those people that is sucking up to other people? What's another wording? He says they cannot see the pnei shchina. That's what it says in Masechet Sotah. So whatever we're saying over here, oh, people love me, but he does everything that it says the Torah does not do, and he does it, which just means he's desecrating. No, we're not talking about those people. לקבל פני שכינה, כי שנאמר לא לפניו חנף יבוא. So he says, in front of him would not come out those people that would suck up. דכתיב אומר במשלי, כ"ד, the משלי says following, אומר לרשע צדיק אתה יקבעו, לרשע צדיק אתה יקבעו עמים ויזמהו לאומים. Mishle says already, King Solomon already gave us the introduction, beautiful. He says to the wicked one, you are tzaddik, continue doing what we're doing, continue doing what you're doing, you did best. Adraba mitzvah lo cham b'darchei noam. He says you need to rebuke him, but rebuke him properly. K'mo misayem pasuk lo mechicham yunav alehem tavo baracha tov. If a person rebukes another person properly, he's going to have a baracha tov, which just means birkat tov. He's going to have a blessing. Marasha el-Ghazi, בספר פעולת ספרים, שמסכתות הפוסקים האלו, לומר שאף על פי שאין לחניף רשעים, he says, even though we should not suck up to the wicked people, אף מחניף להם כדי להיכנס אותם דברי לקורבם תורה, שאומר לרשע, אתה איש חכם ונבון, שמך הטוב הולף לפניך, ולא מתאים לך לעשות דבר פלוני. He says you're allowed to say to the wicked person, in order for him to bring it closer to the Torah. שאומר לרשע, אתה איש חכם, you're wise and understandable man. שמך הטוב הולך לפניך. He says your good name goes in front of you. ולא מתאים לך לעשות דבר פלוני. It's not matching to your deeds. Your deeds is not matching to your whatever you're doing. שהוא אסור על פי תורה, and is not allowed to do according to the Torah. כיוצא בזה מותר. You're allowed to give to the wicked one, from him become from the Rashaim to the Tzaddikim, which is you're allowed to say this to him, even though you're so-called sucking up to him, you're allowed to do that. So right now a person comes in, he does not keep anything, and you're going to tell him, you're a chacham, you're a navon, you're smart, your good name goes in front of you, you're allowed. לכן סיים משלי says in 24:25, ומכיחם נועם שינועם לו את דבריו כדי לקבל באוזני השומע. When you rebuke somebody, how are you supposed to be rebuked? Rebuke properly. Most of us don't even know rebuke. You guys fighting when you're rebuking. Are you saying Allah or are you fighting? No, they're fighting. Already become fighting. And everybody else fighting. And what do? You run away. Machloket chelek mavet. When it comes to the argument, the Chazal says, this is part of the death. You stay away from the machloket. You want to say something? You want to know something? You want to rebuke something? Make sure you know how to do it, and make sure how to do it. Not just to rebuke it anybody and anything. באוזני שומע כמה פירוש ביוצא, אל תוכיח לץ, פן ישנאך, יוכיח חכם, יאהבך. Says, do not rebuke the scorpion. Scorpion? No, that people like clowns. Scorner. Don't rebuke scorner, it says. He's gonna hate you. You're gonna rebuke Chacham, Yahaveka, and he's gonna love you. And then everybody over here, Chachamim, then we say he's gonna love me. I'm gonna love him. ואל תאמר, אתה לץ רשע כיוצא. Don't tell him you're scorner, you're wicked. שאין תוכחה כזאת מתקבלת על האוזן שמעת. He says most of the people, when you tell them straight up, that's why straight up rebuke, they would not listen to you. That's why Shlomo HaMelech used to give 3,000 mashalim. Mashal, which just means? Allusion. Mashalim, that's what he used to give. 3,000. For everything, 3,000. Why? So people would understand it indirect. But sometimes people, unfortunately, the ears closed, you have to tell them directly. First, you need to become his friends. He says, you're a smart man, you're a wisdom man, you're a big tzaddik. According to the Torah, you're not allowed to do so and so and so. But if you're going to tell him, oh, you can't do halacha like this, oh, it becomes all of a sudden Rabbi Yosef Karo, he cannot do this. The Torah does not recommend to go against the person directly, because we are built to right away resist. We're born to the resistance. Somebody tell us something, right away we resist. That's why we have to tell him indirect. Unless he's your student and you're learning with him, then you could tell him direct without any problem. But also you have to understand, not all my students are the same. Certain students I are able to tell them straight. Certain I have to tell them indirect. Certain I have to say in a smile. Certain I just have to keep giving them slashes, which is the makot, until he's going to get it. So it says, if Chazal tell us, if people not liking you, that means Hashem is not liking you. We said this, we continue. So what does it mean? This person does not like me, this person does not like me, this person does not like me. Moshe Rabbeinu, they spoke Lashon Hara about him. And what kind of Moshe Rabbeinu? They say that used to, Masech Shabbat, they say the Jewish people used to, Erev Rav, used to tell him that he used to have, God forbid, relationship with his wife. Wife, people's wife.
People's wife?
Right.
Other people's wife?
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
I see, because he used to do all kinds of
Shalom Bayit, right.
He used to sleep with people's wives.
Right, that's what they used to tell about him. Yes.
That was the day Lashon Hara that you gave.
Right, that's the Lashon Hara against him. The Chazal says, excuse me. Bukharian says, you see the tree does not move without the wind. It has to be something. Right? It does not just nothing.
Yes, it's true.
So the Chazal says yes, because you have so many haters. When you have a haters, it does not work in that sense.
That means what Miriam said about her own brother?
There's something else. She did it for the purpose, for the Leshem Shamayim. They did it to say that Moshe Rabbeinu, that's what he did. Rashaim, yeah. They spoke about the leader also. Gam ze shamru bayoma. Masechet Yoma says, Pei Vav, in page. Listen. Masechet Yoma says, אבל מי שקורא ושונה משמש תלמידי חכמים, אין דיבור בנחת עם הבריות, מה הבריות אמרו עליו, אוי לא פלוני שלמד תורה. What if a person learning all day? He's a Talmid Chacham, he's a rabbi like you guys, many of you say, and he does a lot but he does not talk to people properly. He does not know to communicate with people. He says, people say, oi, to that person that he learned Torah. Oy la'aviv le'rabo shilamdu Torah. Oy to his father and his Rebbe that taught him Torah. Leploni ze lamad Torah ra'u kama mikulkalim ma'asav. He says he could learn the whole Torah. The vessel is disgusting. The Torah is so pretty, but the vessel is disgusting. Kama mucheret drachav. He says, look at how it's disgusting his whatever he does. Shenemar Yechezkel 36:20. Ba'amu lahem im Hashem ele. Marza yatzu pirush shekatuv shekoreh chilul Hashem. The reason he's learning because he does chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem, which means desecrated God's name publicly. Kasher adam choshev shelamad Torah over avira b'faresim ameleh puranut ba'alav. Chazal says he learned Torah, but he did chilul Hashem, which is he desecrated God's name publicly. Mimale puranut ba'alav. He says all the unfortunates is going to chase after him. Hakol omrim ma u'ilu Torah. What everybody's going to say, what the Torah is taught him. And we saw this many times. People come in, they say, I come to the shul. When they do holidays with the family, oh, you can't even sit with them at a table. They become so disgusting. All of a sudden they become Moshe Rabbeinu inside the table. What are you learning? What's the point of you learning? How are you learning? What are you doing?
So what are you supposed to do?
It depends on the situation. You have to figure out the situation. He does not want to do Natilat Yadayim. He does. Listen, you're not here, Mashiach, to fix everybody. He's not going to do it. You're going to, because of him, all the 30 people are going to suffer. Because everybody going to suffer. So put it in a scale. 30 people going to suffer because one person.
No, you say to him, don't do it. It's not right.
But he does. Regardless, he's not going to listen.
Then they're going to start screaming.
Right. So you don't say nothing.
Don't say anything, just
You like never saw something. You pretend like you never saw something. Why with 30 people who suffer because one person? 30 people not making a sin. Everybody in a Hag, in a holiday, we're not allowed to get angry. You need to be happy. He says, mitzvah se deoraita and a Yom Tov. So if a person does what he does, what happens? Everybody else becomes not happy. So he needs to scale it out, put it on a scale. He's been saying this for years, he's not listening. What makes you think he's in an Erev Pesach when there's 100 mitzvot and he's going to listen in Erev Pesach? The Satan says, no, do it. This is the time right now. Everybody gathered together. That's what the Satan. The Yetzer Tov becomes Yetzer Hara. He all of a sudden says, continue doing it. Then everybody have a pus face. What you did it? I'm not going to go to his house no more. So much ripple reaction of Loshan Hara. He's like this. He's disgusting. What's the point of going to the shul? He does not know to act, how to react. He wants to do it. Give him the whole thing. Let him enjoy it. You're not going to change him. When he's going to say himself, I'm going to change, he's going to change. You need to come to the Yom Tov. That means we should and have to go to the Talmidei Chachamim house and to see how they're acting in a Yom Tov. So we don't know no Talmidei Chachamim. We don't go to nobody's house Yom Tov. Read the books the way they were acting in a table. Read how people used to come to them in a table. You have to know these things. If we don't know it, we just read something in Halacha, in a Shulchan Aruch, random Halacha, and we start rebuking, we start bashing him. Mitzvah aseh kibud avot. What if he's bashing his father publicly? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in Masechet Bava Metzia, somebody embarrassed somebody publicly, he has no share in the world to come.
Parent or anybody?
Anybody. Parent is even more because it's mitzvah aseh deoraita. So what we learn from here? וראה חסיד וחכם כי רע בא אליו, שנאמר, ויחללו את שם קודשי, במה יחללו? ואומר להם, הנקרים שגלו ביניהם. So it says, if you see Hasid with Chacham, all the negativity comes to him, unfortunate. He says, he became Chilul. He became Chilul. איך אומרים Chilul, Rabbi Yehuda? Desecrated. ונקרים שגלו ביניהם, ראה מה השם. לא יכול להצילם שלא יגלו. He says he's not able to save himself because he did חילול השם. נמצא שם שמיים מתחלל וכבודו מתמעט. Not only that, his שם שמיים, which is means nobody wants to cling to Hashem. And because of that, his kavod, his honor became deteriorated. עד כאן לשונו. מסכת סנהדרין in page 103 says, אמר ריש לקיש, מהי דכתיב? ריש לקיש says in איוב 38:15, וימנע מרשעים אורם. He says you should refrain from the wicked people the light. What kind of light? וזרעו רימה תישבר. He says if he's raising his hand, his hands should be broken. What does it mean? מפני שלרשעים תלוי אל כיוון שיעשה אדם רעש למטה, שיש שונאים, ואין רוח הבריות נוחה ימינו. Rashi says, if people have a haters downstairs in this world, that's what the Rashi says, נעשה רעש למעלה. He makes רעש. איך אומרים רעש, רבי יהודה? Noise upstairs in the heavens. What means noise upstairs in the heavens? ביודעו השונאים אותו גם למעלה. You have to know, same thing, people hate you upstairs in the heavens, which not people upstairs in the heavens. כתב רשעים בלי עין. שני מיני רשעים, יש למטה ויש רעש למטה. You have two noise. You have noise downstairs in this world, and you have a noise upstairs in the heavens. Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus Omer, Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus, he became Baal Tshuva in age 28. בגמרא יבמות ט"ז, בימי רבי דוסה הורקנוס, התירו צרת בת לאחים, כדעת בית שמאי, שלא כדעת בית הלל. סבירה הוא שצרתה שבת פוטורה. So Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus, this called in Masechet Yevamot, in page 16. Two brothers, Shimon and Levi. Levi gave his daughter to the Shimon, which is his niece, right? That's niece. Now, Shimon passed away. And Leah, which is he got married to Leah, she have no kids.
Oh Lord.
So what do you do in this moment?
You can't
And-
marry your own daughter.
Rabbi Bet Shammai says, yes, you could.
Because mitzvah, you said it one
And Yevamot, it says, in the time of the Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus, did happen alacha ke Bet Shammai. Kedat Bet Shammai, shelo kedat Bet Hillel. Bet Hillel says you need to let her go. Bet Shammai says, get married. של בת פטורה, ויהיה באיסור אשת אח דהווה בכרת. היינו דבר קשה לחכמים. חכמים says it's impossible. מפני חכם גדול היה ועניו כמו מליבו לבית המדרש. He says why he able, because he was Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus, he was חכם ועניו. עניו, which is means humble. והיה קשה לחכמים מפני חכם גדול ועיניו כמו מלבוא לבית המדרש. ממומי ילך וידיענו. Chachamim says, how are we going to go to Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus? How are we going to go to him and to say, what's the halacha like? It's like a Bet Shammai or like Bet Hillel? Amar Rabbi Yoshua, ani elech. Rabbi Yoshua says, I'm going to go. ואחריו מי אמר? רבי אליעזר בן עזריה. He says, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah says, I'm going to go also. To talk to him. Maybe to give him the dad, which is means go towards the Bet Hillel instead of Bet Shammai. ואחריו מי עורך? רבי עקיבא. Who is going to go after them? Rabbi Akiva, which is means Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and Rabbi Akiva. הלכו ועמדו על פתח ביתו. They're standing on the doorsteps of Rabbi Dosa ben Hurkunus. נכנסה שפחתו ואמרה, חכמי ישראל בוא אצלך. His servant says the חכמי Israel, חכמים of Am Israel came to you, visit you. אמר ייכנסו, tell them to come in. נכנסו, תפס רבי יהושע אשר על מיטה של הזהב. He took Rabbi Yoshua and he put him in a bench of gold, golden bench. Out of respect. Golden bench he's given him. Okay? ואמר רבי, אמר לו רבי, אמר שתלמידך אחר ויושב, והוא רבי אלעזר בן עזריה. Says you have another Talmud. His name is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. אמר לי, יש לו בן לעזריה, חברנו. He says, Azariah, he has a son. My friend Azariah. קרא על מקרא הזאת, נא ראיתי גם זקנתי ולא ראיתי צדיק נעזב. He says, I never saw, נא ראיתי גם זקנתי, when I was young, when I was old, I never saw that tzaddik would have missed the bread for himself. That's what you know. You don't know? What does it mean? Chazal says, Rabbi Meir says, if you're a tzaddik, if my kids, he says, I would not leave a penny for my kids.
Yeah.
They'll
Why?
have them home, they're tzaddik. If they're Rishayim, they're
he says, why would I leave money to somebody go against my creator? So I'm going to take every money, every penny away. Okay? If they are tzaddikim, Hashem was the one who's going to provide them. They would never be in a having begging situation. And he says, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, that means this verse talked about you. Okay?
So he says basically that he says that Rabbi Azariah, his friend, he sees his son now.
Now.
So he said, I remember what your father said.
Right. נא ראיתי גם זקנתי ולא ראיתי צדיק נעזב לכם.
His son's a tzaddik.
The son is a tzaddik. Now I understand it, he says.
That pasuk, you understand?
Right. ולא ראית צדיק נעזב תפסו וישבו על מיטה של זהב. They also give him, put him in a mita. I'm sorry, I said bench. He said a bed that made from the gold. And you're over here, sitting over here, you're saying you oligarchs. There's a bed from the what? From the gold. That means you have two beds now.
His father was a Greek convert.
Wait. Amar lo Rebbe, Amar talmidecha acher yoshev. He says you have another Talmud, Rabbi Akiva. V'hu Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef. He says you're Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef. Amar lo ken, ata hu Akiva ben Yosef, shimcha olech misof ha'olam vat sofo. He says your name, Akiva ben Yosef, your name is known all over the world. The Gemara, in my Gemara, in this Masechet Yevamot, Sof ha'olam is Sof ha'olam is numerical value 520. Chazal says how many times in a Shas, in a Gemara, says Rabbi Akiva's name? 520. V'shav b'ni shav, he says, my dear son, sit and sit. K'motecha yirbu b'Yisrael. He says, like you, like Rabbi Akiva, should be more and more. Okay, it's not a competition as we see. If we say, no, but he says, if we see somebody chacham, the kamotecha yerbu beIsrael should be like you more to ba'am Israel. Okay? להתחיל ומקיפים אותו בהלכות עד שיגיעו לצרת הבעד. So what they did, they keep asking him indirect questions. Now they came to the question, what happens is the two brothers, and he gave his daughter, he married his niece. What happens to that? Now you're asking him questions. They didn't ask him directly. They first give him other halachas, until they came to that. Amol tzarat bad ma'u amar lahem machloket bet Shammai bet Hillel. He says there's an argument between bet Shammai bet Hillel. Bet Hillel says let her go. Bet Shammai says take it. V'alacha ke bet Hillel. He says alacha like a bet Hillel. Yeah, but you just known Rabbi Dosa, he says like Bet Shammai, you said.
No, he lived in a time of Bet Shammai ruling.
Rega. He says, in the beginning he says like Bet Shammai. Yeah. So what they did, instead of not argue the way we like to argue, they go, they talk, they speak nice, they first give the halacha. They didn't give him right away. Why they didn't give him right away? He's a chacham, he would understand it right away. Shoot straight up. Whatever you have. No. They spoke, and he says, what happens with this halacha? That means indirect. Now they're asking him directly. Why they didn't ask him directly? That's the question they wanted to ask.
Human nature.
So what we learn from Chachamim, you have to be careful what are you doing. Even you know the whole Torah kulo. They knew the whole Torah back and forth. Okay? We have no idea how much Torah they knew. So because of that, even that, they came to him in a proper way. It doesn't make a difference. In a Chachamim, there's no such thing as older and younger. If it is in a bigger level, but a person could be 80 years old. If somebody is 13 years old and knows the whole Torah, he needs to get up that 80 years old in front of the 13 years old. Okay? That's the fact. So what he says, ואסרו לאחים, וצרתה בת פטורה, ואסרו לאחים, like בית שמאי, בית הלל says, אמר לה, הלא המשך אמרו, הלכה כבית שמאי. He says, אמר להם, he says, but you said in your name that הלכה like בית שמאי. We don't understand it. אמר להם, אח קטן יש לי, ויונתן שמו. He says, I have a small brother, his name is Yonatan. V'hu Talmid Shammai. He says he's the student of Shammai. V'hu horek dvarehem. And he is telling the halacha like Bet Shammai, not like Bet Hillel. Aval mi'it ani alai Shammai v'aretz. Says, I being witness, I put witness, heavens is earth. Shala meducha zo yeshev Chagaya Navi. He says, not only that, Chagaya Navi also says the same thing. But he didn't even see Chagaya Navi.
He spoke to him probably.
No, he says that was acceptance from from the generation to generation, and he says, that's the way I have a Masorah. Tradition was accepted by Chagai HaNavi. ואמר שלושה דברים, אחד מהם צרת בת אסורה לאחים. He says one of the things, tzarat bat, which just means that the father cannot get married to his own daughter. נראה מכאן האריך ימים כ400 שנה בהמשך תקופת בית שני. From here we learn he was living up to second Bet Bamikdash. But he left it off of her part. He says, I have a small brother. His name is Yonatan. He's a Bechor. He's a Katan v'Satan. He called him Satan.
He called him that himself?
He called his little brother Satan.
Why?
He says, because he lo livater. He doesn't give up.
So go argue with him.
Right. How can he says, do not catch him. He would make the same thing 300 ways of kosher and 300 ways not kosher. That Rabbi Yonatan, he says, my small brother, he says, he has a Satan. Why? Because he does not, he doesn't give up. Not just because he doesn't give up, he's a stubborn. He doesn't give up because he knows so much halachot that he able to Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Akiva, he's able to mishachnea, which just means convince them the halacha is like Bet Shammai.
What's the bottom line?
Of course, Rabbi. Of course. That's why Rabbi Meir, they say they cannot able to come down to his knowledge of understanding because he's able to 150 times make the same thing kasher and not 150 times the same thing not kasher. Okay?
So when you master the Torah, in reality, you can do anything. As long as you have the justification.
No, then the Torah says you should go according acharei rabim lehatod. You're supposed to be majority. No, according to the Torah. Of course, they need to bring a pasukim. We're talking about giants. We're not talking about to your psychology of the Kabbalah of the Sfirot. You're just talking about all the time, all the heavens and the heavens and the heavens. There's no actions. Philosophy. It's all about Darwin's philosophy, God forbid. It's not over here philosophy. They're bringing in verses. And verses, you understand? Most of the times we're doing a philosophical way. And there's no end in a philosophical way. There's no end and beginning. That's why you could argue as much as you want to argue from day to morning.
Did we ever have in history a time where this halacha applied practically?
What? To Bet Hillel? No. Only Bet Hillel, not Bet Shammai.
Never applied fully in the world?
It's in the 6 halachas, not in this halacha. In 6 halachas only.
When they were arguing their points, Bet Hillel's overpowered Bet Shammai?
Not overpowered, because it was accepted by the earth. And Shamayim gave the proof. Shina shelach shacharit. We continue. Sleepings in the morning. Wow, that's one of the biggest topics. That's a burden. Why did Hashem give it to me? How come I need to go pray? Oof. Okay? So Milga, I'm not going to go in the Masechet Sukkah in the end. Miriam bat Bilga. שינה של שחרית, באבות רבי נתן, שינה של שחרית קצת, שלא ישן עד שיעבור זמן קריאת שמע. A person should not sleep the time of the קריאת שמע passing. נמצא בטל ממצוות תורה. He's nullifying the positive mitzvah from the Torah. ועליו נאמר, הידלתי תוסף על הצירה, והצל על מיטתו. Oh, King Solomon already talked about it. What did he say? Lazy person is what he does.
Destruction.
He's inside the bed. Vayakom miketz Paro. Paro woke up. He saw a dream. He what? He's from one side to another side. Vayiketz Yaakov. Yaakov woke up. וזה השער השמיים וזה הבית האלוקים. Yaakov Avinu wake up, what he says? This is the Bet HaMikdash and this is the gates for all the prayer. What's the difference between the Paro and Yaakov Avini, the difference is he wake up and he start davening. Paro Rasha on the other side, he just kiss another side of the pillow and he's continue dreaming. That's the difference. The Chazal says, Hadeled tasuv al tzira va'al tzel al mitato. He says, Shlomo HaMelech, I love it. I get so inspiration when I hear Shlomo HaMelech. He says, the door by the hinges is closed and the lazy is continue sleeping. Okay? Mishlei 26:14. כלומר, כמה הדלת תוסף הצירה, ואינו נפרדת ממנו. כמו עצל מרוטטת מתיתה לרוב אהבתו את שינה. He says, like a tzir, the hinges of the door never leaves him. Same thing, the lazy never leaves his bed because he loves the sleeping so much. And everybody says, no, it's only for me challenging. Nobody else has Yetzer Hara. Nobody loves to sleep. Nobody, that's the most important thing, to wake up and have the same excuses. It's a burden. Let's do it. When we do it, when are we going to get rid of it? That's it. When are we going to run? כי עצל תפיל תרדימה. עצלה תפיל תרדימה. Mishlei says 19:16. He says, כי עצלה תפיל תרדימה. He says a person lazy is going to continue sleeping. מה שאמרו בברכות ס"ב. שינה מטה לפרזולה, שיהיה מעילה לגוף מחזיק אותו. So it says if a person sleeps oversleeps, what happens? He causes himself damage to the body. זה קודם תפילת שחרית, אבל שינה של שחרית מוציא אותו מן העולם. He says this is before shacharit. But if he's gonna wake up after the shacharit, he says he will lose the share in the world to come. דברים הרבה אמרו שלמה נגד העצל. Oh, Shlomo HaMelech said a lot of things about laziness. Laziness is killing a person. ואומרים לו, הרי רבך במדינה לך לומד אצלו תורה. They tell him, excuse me, your rabbi is in your city, go learn Torah from him. אמר, אני מתיירא מן האריה. He says, I'm afraid of the lion. שנאמר, like it says, שלמה המלך. 26:13. אמר עצל שחל בדרך, אמרו, כבר בא רבך בעיר, לך למד אצלו תורה. אמר להם, מתיירא אני מן האריה. נמצא בין הרחובות. He says, I'm afraid to go on the streets. אמרו לו, הרי הוא בביתך שכונך. He says, he's in your, not in a town, he's in your שכונה. He's your neighbor. אמר, אני הולך רואה שהדלת נעולה. I went, but the door is closed. אמרו לו, הדלת פתוחה לרווחה. He says, the door is open, widely open. שנאמר, הדלת תוסיף על הצירה. Says the hinges of door attached to the door. שרואה שאין לו מה להשיב, when he has no excuse to give to his Rebbe, אמר להם, בין שהדלת פתוחה בין נעולה, אני מבקש לישון. He says the following, whether the door is open, whether the door is closed, I want to sleep. עוד מעט. Another 2 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 10 minutes, another 20 minutes. I'm going to have another minyan, and I'm going to have another minyan, and by yourself in praying, and you don't know where is he, and where is his minyan. V'ne'emar v'alav ne'emar. King Solomon says, wow, does he spoke about the other generations or only our generations? King Solomon says in 15:9, Ad matai atel tishkav matai takum mishnatecha. King Solomon says, until now, until when a lazy person gonna sleep on his bed, or he's gonna lay, and when you're gonna get up from your sleep, amad lakum shemo lepanav leechol. So he comes out and he starts eating. And he wakes up. He's even lazy to eat food. שנאמר, תמן עצה לידו, מצלח הנעילה, להשיבה אל פיו. He says, even the bread he cannot give to his mouth. ועליו נאמר, מחורף עצל לא יחרוש. He says, a person is a עצל, is a lazy, he would not harvest his crop. ושאל בקצריך ואין. And he says, there's no job, there's no nothing. אמר רבי שמעון בר יוחאי, כל מי שאינו לומד תורה בילדתו, הוא מבקש ללמוד בזקנתו, אינו יכול. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says something unbelievable. Somebody was not asking and begging, learning Torah while he's young. When he comes old, he cannot learn Torah. What are you talking about? What is he saying? מה הזאת? מה הכרם הזאת? אין אדם שאינו לומד תורה בילדו, הוא מבקש ללמוד בזקנתו, אינו יכול, שנאמר ושאל בקציר ואין. ונאמר עוד, says in the following, משלי 24:30, על שדה איש עצל עברתי, ועל כרם אדם חסר לב. מה השדה הזאת? אין אדם חורשה וזריעה. Shlomo HaMelech says, the person, he has a field, he does not plant it, and he does not harvest it. Why is that? Because he's missing heart. מה השדה זאת? אין אדם חורש וזורע. היא מעלה קוצרים ודרדרים. He says, what grows in this field? Thorns. And full of okay? So what happens? מה הכרם הזה? אין אדם מעודרו מנחשו. מעלה קוצים וברקנים, כך תלמיד חכם, אינו נושא ונותן בתורה ואינו חוזר עליה. He says that's what the Talmid Chacham is. He does not go back whatever he's learning. He's thinking that he's learning the whole Masechet, that's it. He's 100%, he's a Talmid Chacham. Okay, וסופו לשכוח אפילו ראש הפרק וראש המסכת. He would even forget the beginning of learning and the end of the learning. ואמר על אסור מותר ועל מותר אסור. Whatever you need to say, it's good, he says not good. Whatever he says, good, not good. Everything is opposite. והנה עלה כולו כמשונים כיסו פניו הרגולים. וגדר אבניו נחרסה. Everything that he built, everything is destroyed. לפי פרס גדר של התורה. Because he broke the fence of the Torah. שאינו נקנית אלא ביגיעה. The Torah only able to get to it till you're going to work on it and work hard on it. ואם הוא עמל בתורה כל הצורך, נזהרים מצלים את פניו. נאמר, משכילים יזהירו כזוהר הרקיע. When he's learning the whole Torah, his face starts shining. Like a lot of people says, I learned Zohar. No, I learned Torah. And he doesn't smile. He doesn't even smile. He's depressed all the time. So what is it says? המשכילים יזהירו כזוהר הרקיע. ומצדיקים רבים ככוכבים לעולם ועד. He's going to be shining like in a dark light. He's going to be that light that is going to be shining. And that's what we need to look for. Are we learning Torah? We're all the time tarud b'machshavotenu. We're all the time busy in our mind. Smiling does not even exist. 99% even people not even singing. They don't even know how to sing. Even if you're going to invite them to the party, they got used to it. So life of depression is so many confusion that happening in the brain. Aren't we supposed to be cling to the Torah and be happy? That's what the Torah gives us. But we think in Torah is the weight. Oh, it's a burden. Oof. Another shul. Another masachet. What's wrong with it? I'm already doing some masachet. שיהי רצון הקדוש ברוך הוא שגיב us ברכה, הצלחה, בריאות, ששון ושמחה בעזרת השם, joy, happiness, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.